welcome to a new episode of To Costa Rica Real Talk, To Costa Rica Real Estate's podcast on all things real estate and Costa Rica. And today we're joined by Ewen Dusch, one of our main agents in the Papagayo area and one of the top brokers also in the company. How are you doing today?
Doing amazing. Thank you for having me on the podcast here. It's a great honor to be part of this very nice initiative that you guys have.
Yeah, it's great having you because also as we were mentioning off mic, the Papagayo area hasn't had the representation in the podcast as it should. We had your colleague Kelly last year talking about the Blue Zone Live, but today we want to touch upon perhaps more like a direct focus on the market part of Papagayo.
Yeah, it's been great operating in such a beautiful area that is the Papagayo area. We have such a nice concentration of nice beaches and beautiful landscapes over there. In coordination with amazing infrastructure and just proximity to the airport, I think has been our main strength. So yeah, I mean, super excited.
Yeah, and perhaps to touch upon the Papagayo area, like many people nowadays associate it with like the golf and the ultra luxury, and we'll eventually get into that. But perhaps I wanted to start off talking about like Playa del Coco and its evolution over time. Like it started off as this like very like local type of destination. Was during the 70s and 80s one of the main hubs for the Tico tourism, and eventually it developed over time. How is that also in your experience like the placing of Playa del Coco as this like perhaps epicenter of the Papagayo area? As someone that lives there.
Yeah. I mean, I have just under 10 years of living in Playa del Coco originally from France, from Paris. But yeah, in those 10 years, it's been amazing to see just amazing development in Playa del Coco that used to be a small kind of fisherman town. I heard that from stories. Obviously, I never known it like that. But to see what it has become today with kind of being this central hub for a lot of people and a lot of investors as well, that kind of is mixing great local community that I think, for example, they don't really have down south closer to Tamarindo. I feel like Tamarindo is a little bit more of an expat community. In Coco and in Ocotal and all these nearby beaches, we have this great sense of local community with a lot of Tico residents and yeah, just it's a great mix of many cultures that have made it just an amazing place to live.
And for someone that isn't as geographically located, when you talk to a client, you try to explain the reach of the Papagayo area. For you, what's that range that the company covers?
Yeah, we usually try to stay in between Las Catalinas and we go up to the Nicaraguayan border. Our focus is definitely the Bay of Papagayo area, which is just the Gulf. So basically Playa Ocotal, Playas del Coco, Playa Hermosa, Playa Panama, all these kind of beach towns that have become very very prized for a lot of people, mostly from the US and Canada. We have a couple Europeans, mostly Italians as well. But yeah, it's just these kind of 4 beaches that we try to focus on, and our area of expertise is in there for sure.
Yeah, and over time, perhaps for the main Tico resident of Costa Rica, we used to hear about Playa del Coco, and eventually the main reference point for Papagayo became the Four Seasons. Perhaps it was like the first showcase of like this idea of ultra luxury. In your experience, also like talking with clients, how is also that first advent of like this idea of like ultra resorts for like the 1%?
Yeah, we have a crazy concentration of these 5-star resorts in such a small area. I mean, they're all in like 20 minutes range from each other, and we just had a new St. Regis that was announced in the same Bay of Papagayo area. So now with Ritz Reserve, Four Seasons, we've got Waldorf Astoria that's opening in March of 2025 as well, and now St. Regis. It's just it's great value for the area because it brings everything. It brings new infrastructure. I mean, just had a new sidewalk on in Playa del Coco that just finished construction on the beach road. You know, all the roads have been very well maintained. You know, and it's also jobs for the local community as well. Great growth for the local community. So all these resorts have been bringing this light on the Papagayo region, in it's became something amazing, truly.
And how's this current relationship between, like, as you mentioned, like the Gulf with all these five-star hotels and very like exclusive experiences, with, as you mentioned, Playa del Coco as this like perhaps like entry point into this area. How's like the current relationship between both those spaces?
Yeah, I think most people that come to these resorts, they mostly stay inside, but you always have, you know, a couple, I would say 5 to 10% of these clients that they like to experience the true Costa Rican vibe as well, and they come to visit us in, you know, in Coco or in any other nearby beach to kind of experience the real Costa Rican lifestyle. Obviously, the luxury lifestyle is very different than what you find in your day-to-day life if you live in Costa Rica. But it's a great asset for the area to have these all these kind of feeders hotels that have been providing this high-end client to their businesses, right? I think most of them try to interact as much as possible with the surrounding local community, especially when they go like surfing. You know, we have Witches Rock, that is like one of the most famous surfing points in Costa Rica. We have many sports fishing boats as well. We have great golf. These resorts usually bring amazing golf with them. So yeah, I mean, in with all these activities, I think everybody kind of interacts with each other as well, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, I wanted to touch upon that also because also like relating to like the Flamingo Marina, for example, and this is like beyond the ultra luxury resorts, like the kind of developments that have like perhaps like shower like the area around Playa del Coco. How is your experience in what they add in terms of like value and also like the main like lifestyle that they offer now?
Yeah, it's usually a very kind of nature focused lifestyle. All these resorts, you know, they have something in common is that they try as much as possible to kind of respect nature. Their main marketing, you know, argument is Costa Rica. So they try to respect nature, biodiversity. They invite the animals to kind of hang out around the resorts for the clients to kind of hopefully not to interact too much with them, but see them and see that they're there. I mean, we have a great population of monkeys, pisotes, everything. So it's just yeah. So that's what they have in common, kind of this holistic, nice energies and vibes focused around the resort. A lot of great spas and wellness retreats as well. Yeah, I think that's their main kind of marketing argument, and they try really hard to preserve nature. Actually, Four Seasons has a coral reef project that they're working on. Waldorf Astoria just started also replanting coral reef in the beach that they're operating. So yeah, they all try to kind of preserve what makes Costa Rica great, and yeah, work with nature pretty much.
And how this idea of like the lifestyle over there relates to the kind of like listings that you have in Papagayo area? Because one of the things that has interested me over time is that you see like naturally you see like the also luxury condo and this kind of like very like legacy properties, but also in the Playa del Coco you see a lot of like mixed use developments, like commercial developments, like opportunities for investment. So I think that's like a kind of like a unique feature of the area.
Yeah, we have what makes the Papagayo area and Playas del Coco great is that we have a great range of prices. We're not, I mean, it's starting at, you know, 150,000. You could find something like a nice condo that is actually very close to the ocean. It's like a 5 minute walk. If you go to Las Palmas, for example, which most people might not know, but it's this small residential kind of condo community that is like literally 5 minute walking distance to the ocean, to Playas del Coco. So you could find like a nice 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom for 150 to 250,000, but you also could find the ultra luxury, 10 plus million residents in Waldorf, Astoria, or Four Seasons. So yeah, I think what we sell the most is like the 750 to $1.5 million range, which is like a nice ocean view villa on the hills of Coco or Playa Hermosa. The topography is very nice in Playa Hermosa and Playa del Coco because you've got these nice hills very close to the ocean. So it offers the possibility to have a nice ocean view home while being very close to the beach.
And in terms of like, I don't know if you've identified like different demographics for the kind of a client you usually like have in Playa del Coco and Papagayo area.
Yeah, it used to be a lot of retired people that were coming to Coco. In particular, I think because of that kind of lower price range compared to Tamarindo and Flamingo. But recently it's been shifting a lot to families, kind of younger families. Also a lot of digital nomads, that are working that are working in the US, and since we're on the same time zone as most states in the US, they come to Coco and they're still very close to the airport. It's a 25 to like 35-minute drive to the airport, to the Liberia International Airport, and you can catch a direct flight to most of big cities in the US. So that's very convenient for them to be in Coco, since if their employers ask them to come back to the office for a week or something, they're able to get their flights and everything figured out pretty easy. So I think we've had more families recently. Maybe it's because I'm a younger agent, so I deal with younger crowds as well, since they kind of identify to me a little bit more. But yeah, I think we've had a nice shift, especially in Pacifico. I mean, I feel like we have a lot of families now. Pacifico is really the earth of Playa del Coco. It's the main community where everything is, most of the restaurants, automercado, shops, everything.
And that's also something I wanted to ask you about the how the airport, international airport, and its growth over time has kind of like impacted the area. Because you hear about this a lot with like the advent of like digital nomads in Santa Teresa and Tamarindo. But also like that also has created like a demand for more flights for like nowadays the Guanacaste airport I think is starting to like equalize the grounding with the Juan Santa Maria airport in San Jose. So how has also that meant like evolution for the market?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Playas del Coco is the closest beach town to the airport. So the growth of the airport has impacted Playas del Coco so much. I mean, they're extending the one of the commercial terminal right now at the airport, and we know for a fact that it's going to impact us in terms of tourism first, and then the real estate market as well, right? A lot of people are staying in Coco because they're flying out in a day or the next day. It's just super convenient for them to be located in a beach town just 25 to 30 minutes away from the airport. So the airport is just our main kind of attraction point for sure.
And you've mentioned Pacifico and also Las Palmas earlier. Do you want to highlight a couple more of these kind of like communities that for you embody like the range that offers like the Papagayo area?
Yeah. I mean, Pacifico has been kind of the pioneer. They started when Four Seasons was also in construction. It used to be from one of the investors of Peninsula de Papagayo that thought he would do a kind of a high-end community also in Playa del Coco. And it's been kind of the central, I like to call it the earth of Playa del Coco. It's really the main kind of turning point where everybody goes, and most people that first come to Playas del Coco, they are usually renting a condo in Pacifico. And from Pacifico, we've had a couple other communities that have emerged kind of with the same example. We have Coco Bay, that is kind of a nice residential as well, just outside in between Playas del Coco and Playa Cotal. and many more in Playa Hermosa that are kind of these gated communities with a couple amenities. Pacifico is the one that has the most amenities. You have many pools, tennis courts, sports complex, and walking distance to supermarkets, restaurants, banks, direct shuttle service to the beach with a very nice beach club. And yeah, just this resort package that everybody loves. And as owners, renters, everybody is just usually looking for Pacifico or a similar community like Coco Bay or something in Hermosa as well. Hermosa has kind of like more of a residential vibe to it. It's mostly residences, so you don't find as many like restaurants and activities as in Playas del Coco. But it's some people like it because it's a little bit more quieter and just a little bit more laid back. So, and now we just recently there was this new community that's been announced that is called Bahia Papagayo, which is gonna be in between Playa Hermosa and Playa Panama. That is promising great amenities as well. So it's gonna be kind of this very nice beachfront village on Playa Panama with condos starting at the low 400s to very nice ocean view villas as well. I mean, the Sereno, which is the first phase called Sereno, is pretty much sold out. There's like 3 lots left. But yeah, so many kind of communities are emerging with this kind of momentum that the Papagayo area has.
And perhaps to round off the podcast, I also want to ask you about like perhaps the lesser known corners of the Papagayo area that you've seen like growing over time. I think you mentioned already Ocotal, but along those lines, do you identify some like these hidden gems in the market?
Yeah, I think Ocotal has been kind of underrated for a little bit. It's always been this kind of high-end residential community, but not like a gated community. It's just an open residential community. And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more exclusive than Coco, while still being very close to everything. So you're like 5 to 10 minutes away from everything that you find in Playas del Coco, but you're a little bit more laid back. You've got a couple smaller beaches in that concentrated area, which you've got Pez Vela, which is a really nice, very quiet beach, very family friendly. That's the thing with the Papagayo area as well, that most of our beaches are very quiet. You don't have many waves, so many families prefer that to the surf beaches where it can be a bit dangerous for some people with kids and everything. So and then yeah, Ocotal, we've got Lomas del Mar actually, that is a little bit south of Playas del Coco. That is like this agricultural residential community, kind of low density as well. That has been very prized recently, even though they have a couple water issues that they have to fix. But yeah, and then farther down south to in between Las Catalinas and the Rio Hotel, we've got this brand new, very high-end luxury development that is Zapotal Beach Club, which is developed by Discovery Land Company, which is a top luxury company, and so that's bringing a lot of traction to the Lomas del Mar area as well.
And finally, how do you see this like a transition from like the 2024 that has been like an historic year in terms of like visitation to the area towards like 2025?
Yeah, I think we're just all this 2024. I think was kind of a waiting year, even though we had great interest and great numbers with the elections. We mostly depend on the US market for most of our clients. So with the elections now over and many people, we're already seeing a big increase in people that are interested in buying something in the area, right? And the thing is that we've got a bigger market than Tamarindo and Flamingo in a smaller area. Really, we've got more inventory. So and it still remains quite affordable compared to probably because the inventory is smaller over there. But we still have great variety of offering for properties ocean view lots, ocean view villas, condos. As I said earlier, the price range really starts from 150 up to whatever you want. But yeah, we are seeing definitely a big increase for 2025. Many of my clients have booked their flights and are ready to come, and they are coming to buy. And they know that they're gonna buy something that trip. So yeah, we're looking forward to January and February. Now is a great time to buy, right before all that craziness of the high season is gonna happen.
Oh, those are some great final words. Do you want to add anything else?
No, I mean, it was great discussing the Papagayo area with you, and looking forward to another podcast in the future, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for coming, Ewen. It's great having you. If anyone else enjoyed the conversation, you can follow us on social media at Costa Rica Real Talk, and listen to all our backlog podcasts in your favorite streaming platform.